up to speed on where things are with Qatar and the boycott, essentially, of Qatar right now. Where do things stand? I know the Kuwaitis are trying to broker a deal. Rex Tillerson either is or isn't trying to help. The Russians either are or are not trying to get involved. What's going on?
Well, there's been a wave of diplomacy going on in Washington, D.C. The Saudis are there, the Emiratis are there, and the Qataris are there. And the Qataris seem to be moving in. And their position is they're going to hang tough. They have indicated they have every confidence in Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Secretary of Defense Mattis to mediate this conflict. However, they're not giving up. They won't bend. They have the money to spend, and they will stick to their sovereignty.
So how much of a bite is it really taking in Qatar itself in terms of food and in terms of supplies? Is it really making a difference in day-to-day life there?
Well, initially it did make a difference in day-to-day life, but the Turks have established an air bridge to Qatar. The Iranians have shipped food into Qatar.
Sounds like Berlin.
It does indeed. And the Qataris themselves have airlifted cattle from Australia to Qatar for dairy purposes. So Qatar is a very small country with enormous resources. It has money to spend on this.
So what are the broader ramifications? I mean, we talk about the Straits of Hormuz, we talk about this resonating to places like Iran and Turkey and Egypt, things like that. What are the potential effects on trade, on commerce, on investment?
Well, this comes just 3 weeks after President Trump was in Riyadh trying to build a unified coalition against Islamic extremism and against Iran. This clearly fractures that unified coalition. You now have the Iranians who've been trying to get into this side of the Gulf through the back door, now coming in through the front door by resupplying the Qataris, by making noises that they will be willing to help the Qataris through this. So what it does is it makes it more difficult for the United States to pursue those two primary goals that the president laid out in Riyadh.
Do you point to the acceleration that we've seen of events over the last couple of weeks to the president's visit?
Well, it's very hard to make that case when you understand the history of this. The Saudis and the Emiratis and the Qataris have been at each other's throats since the mid-1990s. This is just the most recent event in a number of incidents like this where the United States has had to come in and mediate amongst these groups.
You kind of